Over here. Okay, so one of my favorite things, someone put a great question in the comments that I want to talk about, which is documentation and keeping track of sort of information and stuff like that. So this is Wilderness Medicine Wednesday. Let's talk about soap. This is Wilderness Medicine Wednesday. This is Wilderness Medicine Wednesday. Let's talk about soap notes. So SOAP is, of course, an acronym. S stands for subjective, O is objective, A is assessment. I was also taught a million years ago anticipated problems. You can use either depending on who taught you how to do it. I've seen both, though I think assessment is more common. Assessment is what Knowles teaches. And then P is plan. What are you going to do with this patient? Subjective, I struggled with when I was in EMT, and then a preceptor said, just tell a story. Tell the story of what the patient told you. So that's what subjective is. Subjective is things you can't really see. It's things the patient tells you. It's stuff like that. Objective is things you find. It's injuries, it's vital signs, it's lung sounds, it's things like that when you're treating a patient. And then assessment is what we teach at the WFA level, I call problem list. Here are all the things that I'm worried about with this patient. You know, their chief complaint is an elbow injury. They also have this injury and this injury. They have an underlying problem with blood sugar. They're diabetic or something like that. So that's anticipated problems. The environment for us in the wilderness can also be an anticipated problem. So I think about the environment a lot. It's raining, it's snowing, it's going to be raining, it's going to be snowing. That's an environmental problem, and the environment can be a life threat. So I think that those are super important. The nice thing about a SOAP note is that if you start working with your patient, besides giving you a place to write all this stuff down, it also gives you sort of a template to remember what you're going to do or what you need to do. A lot of them work really well in that sense, and a lot of them have a graph, a pre-printed sort of chart where you can put vital signs, which makes it really easy. A lot of them will have like a picture of a patient front and back so you can mark injury locations, things like that. There are tons of options, and I will tell you, if you Google SOAP note, you will get 8 million versions. Forever I said, they all stink. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna put up or shut up. I'm gonna design a SOAP note. And I started to design one, and that was why I realized, or that was when I realized why they all stink. It's because they're hard to design. They really are. So I'm still working on it. At some point, I'll put it up on Coffee so folks can have it. And that's the sort of thing that I'll do like for $1 just to sort of cover the cost of it. But and what we did when I worked for REI was that we printed them out on waterproof paper, and a couple of them lived in first aid kits. In that situation, we didn't put pens and things like that in first aid kits because the instructors would always have those anyway. I don't put a pen in my first aid kit. I do put a pencil in my first aid kit, with the reason being that you can sharpen a pencil with a knife, which everyone in the backcountry has a knife, and pens either dry out or explode in my experience. So those are things that I do. I will also keep in a first aid kit a field notes book, the waterproof version, which could also be a Write in the Rain book. There are many options, but I like the field notes because they're really small. It's just a nice way for me to sort of gather my notes, and then when I need to start writing out the SOAP note, I can do that. I have lousy handwriting. I like to just not write that stuff down in a hurry. I want to take my time and make them look legible because I have such bad handwriting. Another vitally important thing to have is a watch. If you don't wear a watch, I think it's a good idea to just buy one for your first aid kit, like go to Target or something like that, buy a $5 digital watch. You could even cut the band off of it and throw it in your first aid kit. You need it for vital signs, but also, hey, at this time this happened, at this time this happened. A really good thing to have. So that is SOAP notes. I think they're super important. When I release one, I'll of course make it known so that it's easy to find and easy to download. A lot of this information, of course, comes from my experience, but a great resource on SOAP notes is the Knowles Wilderness Medicine book, which has a good section, a good couple pages on soap notes and how to use them and things like that. I will say Medicine for Mountaineering, which is normally a really good source for me, has nothing on soap notes. So yeah, not a good resource for this one from that book, but that book has a lot of other amazing things. So super quick, super simple, super easy. Soap notes are a good thing to have in your first aid kit. All right, I'll see you outside.